Once upon a time, there was a village named Vishnupuram. In that village, there lived a man, Vinayan. Vinayan was very innocent. He was a pure man. He never sinned and hurted anybody. All he did was to help people and do lot of charitable works for poor and needy. His son Pitambaram was very good person. His son Pitambaram had 2 children. Pitambaram was also same like his father. He would really help poor and needy people and do lot of charitable works. One day there was very deadly disease that took over entire village. So many people died out of this disease. It was very harmful. Pitambara's wife and his daughter died from that disease, and when Pitambaram got sick, he became very skinny and lost a lot of weight. Pitambaram then decided that he only had one child to look after and he had to make a living for his son and his father. He then decided to work as a laborer and make some money for his family. At that time, Vinayan looks at his son and he says this with concern.
My son, you look very ill. How would you be able to work as a laborer in this condition that you are in? Let me go and beg for some rice and bring it back here for all of us.
Even after hearing what his father said, Pitambaram doesn't listen and he says this.
I'm still alive, father. You need not beg for anything as long as I'm here. Just now, they have started asking for people to work in the fields. Let me go there and get the job myself.
Pitambaram then left for the fields to work. Since he was so ill and weak, none of the people in the fields considered to give him a job. He was so weak that he was not able to hold the equipments required for the work. He then roamed around the fields till evening. He thought, how could I work with this weakness? And then he went back to the village. Coming into the village, he then begged to each and every house for some rice. After getting some rice from people, he went back to home by night. As soon as his father Vinayan looked at him, he said this.
Didn't I already tell you about this, son? Nobody will give you a job in this condition that you are in. Tomorrow we shall both go and beg for some rice.
Father, please do not think so negatively. Today we shall have what I have brought in. Tomorrow I will bring some good food for you all.
Are you crazy, my son? We barely have enough for all of us to survive. And where are you going to find a good food for all of us?
When Pitambaram was ill, his father brought in food by begging in the streets of village. Pitambaram did not like this incident, and since Pitambaram could only get a job after he had regained his strength, even he did not know what to do. He started thinking about doing illegal activities to make money, even though he had never done anything wrong in his entire life. At the same time, his father also suspected that Pitambaram would do something wrong to bring in food into house. Because of this, that night Vinayan wasn't able to sleep at all. He then woke up at the middle of the night to see what is happening and he left the house. He saw his son is not there. He waited for 1 hour. He then hears a sound from outside the house. Vinayan, without making a noise, he slowly went outside and he saw his own son, Pitambaram, chopping up and butchering a goat. He then thought of himself,
Oh God, my son who has never done anything wrong in his life is now doing a very heinous crime. Why, God, have you put me in this situation where I don't even know whether I should condemn my son for what he is doing, as I know the reason he is doing it to put food in the belly of his son and mine. What should I do, Lord?
Vinayan then went back to the house and slept. He kept thinking about what his son did and he couldn't sleep at all. He didn't realize that his son was doing that so he could not starve to death. Vinayan was thinking about the punishment that his son would receive for doing such a terrible act. His son took all the meat and then he butchered and put it on the top of the farm, and he went to house and he cleaned himself and went to bed and slept. The next day morning, Vinayan woke up and looked at his son and he said this to his son Pitambaram.
Come son, let us both go and beg for some food. We should go as early as possible. That will be helpful for us.
We do not need to beg for food, father. Didn't I tell you yesterday that I would give you good food today? Today we shall have some meat for all of us.
Where was this meat yesterday when we were starving for food? How did it come to you all of a sudden? I would rather die than eat food in an illegal manner. I want you to look me in the eye and promise me right now that you would never do such terrible acts just for food. This is absolutely wrong. You should never do it.
Please do not talk about begging to me for today. Today we shall eat the meat that I have brought, and we shall eat it tomorrow as well. By the time it is day after tomorrow, I will have regained my strength and I shall go and get some work. Until then, please do not talk about begging to me further.
After listening to what son said, Vinayan could not control his anger anymore. He looked at his son with angry and said this to him.
Do not try to fool me, you idiot. You took the goat from our neighbor's house and you are butchering it last night. Yesterday you slept with me and you woke up so late. From where did you get this meat? I saw the whole thing with my own eyes when I went to see where you are. And now you are trying to tell me that you had bought this from somewhere. You are a liar.
After listening to what his father said, Pitambaram starts crying heavily.
I'm sorry, father. I should have never stole that goat from our neighbor's house. If you feel guilty about this, we do not need to eat that meat. Let us both go and beg for food in the village.
Vinayan felt very bad when his son spoke to him on that way. But at that time, the damage has already been done because of two guards were listening to this conversation from outside the house. Guards in the Ravi's farm informed him that goats are missing in the farm. Ravi went to leader of village and he told him like this.
Sir, somebody had stolen a goat from my farm. I beg you to please find who stolen my goat and bring it back to me immediately.
The leader of the village has assigned a few guards to search around the area nearby the farm of Ravi, so they can find who had stolen the goat. At that moment, few guards walked across Vinayan's house and they heard the conversation that they had. After listening to the conversation, the guards went to the place where Pitambaram had hidden the meat, but guards couldn't find the meat anywhere at all. But they were sure that Pitambaram only stole that. They were very sure that because his father himself told that. After the guards caught Pitambaram, as we know, Ravi has no mercy at all. He was very cruel and cunning. He found out the news from the guards. Ravi went to the leader and he said like this.
I'm so glad that you had caught the thief who stole my goat. I want you to punish him immediately. Give him a very severe punishment so that this man will never forget to do anything like this ever again. We do not need any witness whatsoever. His father is own witness. Since his father is a very innocent and pure man, we do not need any witness for this.
Then the guards took all the evidence that they have collected from Vinayan's house and farm that they had. After that, they went to the city judge. The judge was very merciful and a kind man. After listening to the case, he felt very sad for Pitambaram.
We live in a very sad situation where people are stealing not for money and greed, but they are stealing for food. I feel bad for Pitambaram as he has all the evidence stacked against him. And the person that is persecuting him also wants him to be punished severely, as his own father is a witness to the entire incident. I am not sure what to do because I don't want to punish this boy so severely as he has already looks like he is starving. I do not want to punish a very innocent and kind family just because they were starving for food.
I will not agree to your sympathy and your mercy. You are a judge and it is your duty to give the fair punishment to criminals.
The judge entered the hall and he saw everyone that was related to the case in the place. The prosecutors mentioned the crime that they had occurred to them and guards had told everything that they had heard from Vinayan's house. The guards told that they had found a bag of meat on top of Vinayan's farm. Most important witness is his own father.
The most important witness is his own father. So what are you waiting for? Just start your testimony.
Ravi says this with arrogant smile in his face.
I want you to tell me everything that your son did, and you have to promise that what you are telling is truth.
Judge looks at Vinayan and says that,
Sir, I beg you to spare my son. My son, since the time he was born, he has never uttered a single bad word or done a bad thing in his entire life due to starvation, poverty and debt. We had no choice but to steal some food so that we can survive. On top of that, his wife and his eldest daughter had died due to the illness that had struck our entire village. This had broken him and his heart into several pieces, which is why he did what he could make him to his son and to me to survive. We only caught the goat, but we did not eat it at all. What we did to the goat, we had kept it on the top of our farm. I did not see my son steal it, and I also saw my son butcher it. Please do not punish him anymore. I beg you, sir, please give him another chance. He has promised me that he will not steal anymore, sir. We shall never do this again, sir.
The old man says this with tears in his eyes, but Ravi starts smiling and looks at the judge. The entire room, including the judges and guards, looked at Ravi with a disgust and anger. At that moment, judge thinks this for a while and he says like this to Ravi.
There is not sufficient evidence to prove that Pitambaram was the man that stole the goat. Do you have any more evidence to prove your case?
After listening to what judge said, Ravi becomes angry and says like this.
Didn't you heard the testimony that his father gave? What else witness do you need for this?
How I am supposed to know that the goat that was butchered was yours? Do you have any identifying features to claim that it is your goat? Where is the goat's skin? So far, there is no evidence that the goat that was butchered was yours. Someone else could have stolen your goat, no? The goat that you claim to be yours could have run away.
Ravi was shocked to hear what judge said. Ravi then looked at his workers. His workers then looked at the guards. In a helpless manner, Ravi said to judge like this.
We tried to find the skin wherever we could, but we were unable to find the skin. I'm pretty sure he is the man that stole my goat.
We cannot do that unless and until you find me that skin and prove to me that it is your goat. I cannot punish Pitambaram in any shape or form. Pitambaram and his father are allowed to eat the meat as much as they want to, and they will not be punished whatsoever. Both Pitambaram and his father is allowed to leave right now.
Both Pitambaram and his father folded their hands towards the judge and they thanked him for what he had done for them. After Pitambaram and his father left, the judge looked at the guards and said this.
Listen to me, my gods. If we need to find justice for Rabbi, we need to make sure that you have to find the skin of that goat. So please make sure you go and search everywhere.
After listening to what the judge said, everybody in the court left. Ravi couldn't do anything. He has to accept it and go. After everybody left, judge told his helper like this.
Thank you so much for the idea that you have given me. If you did not hide the skin of the goat, I would have been forced to punish Pitambaram for stealing the goat, and I wouldn't have been able to live with myself for the rest of my life, knowing that I had punished a man for quenching his hunger. Thank you so much for your idea.
Even though Pitambaram was the man that had stolen the goat that day, it is fair that he did only because of the situation around him. He had truly never stolen or done anything bad in his entire life before that. Even though he was at the brink of death due to starvation, his own father was able to tell the truth and not cause any harm to justice. What had transpired today was not right for justice, but was right for dharma. The decision that we made today was correct.
Judge then allotted a guards to visit Pitambaram house every month and provide them with groceries and food items. Pitambaram also got a job due to the help of judge, and since that day onwards they have never starved for food ever in their life. Pitambaram and his family lived happily.
If you like this story, do like it, share it. For more new stories, please subscribe our New Stories Book English YouTube channel.